Why do you always look so down, creature? What, monotonous rowing for days on end not to your liking? At least there's an end in sight. Well, sort of. You can't see it through the fog just yet, but we're close. Close enough that I expect land by midday and my own bed by tonight. Oh, don't ask me how I know. I just know. It's the smell and the fog itself. I know this water well enough that I know that I'm back home. This is my 7th time sailing back into this harbor. I've done it every year since I was 13. That should earn me at least some wisdom. Oh, can you imagine? Hot food, a fireplace, and real beer. Not this stale grog shit Torsten keeps feeding us. The returns are always a happy occasion, and I'd rather look forward to them. Oh, fucking finally. Stop rowing. It's time for us to rotate off. Well, come on. Follow me up to the front. You've earned at least a break and a bite to eat. Here. Take a bit of this cheese. You might as well finish it off. So, you've had nothing but mine and my clan's company for days now. How do you find us? As grotesque and savage as you expected. Well, however harsh you find us, expect the environment itself to be equally unforgiving. Winter will fall on us soon, and we'll have more work than most. Why? Well, you see, one of the last things I did before leaving was to buy some land. It has a small cabin on it. Well, that's generous. It's better than a campsite, honestly. But it has a spot on the floor for a fire and room enough for a bed mat. It's not perfect. But it is mine. Just like you are. Look at all these odd possessions I'm starting to collect. I want to build a decent house on it. You know, one with a decent-sized hearth and a dining table and a smokehouse and a feather bed and... Well, you're going to help me build it, my little creature of burdens. There you go, making that sad face again. As if the work you were doing before was any easier. As if you had a better chance of survival in that dreadful place. Surely you realize staying there would have meant death, with or without our interference. We saw your grain silo. It was empty. And the wells, they were dry. What was your plan? Hibernate, as the bears do? How ridiculous. But really, what use is it getting worked up over it now? It's done. Here, eat the rest of these oats too. We have a little time left before we make it ashore, so what do you say we kill some time? I'm tired of singing rowing songs. What should we do? Ah, I've got it. You'll hate it. And first, I will tell you a story. And then, I'll tell you a secret. How does that sound? Well, would you rather talk with someone else? Almost none of them speak your language, you know that. Hush your mouth and drink this water too, you look awful. Alright, where to begin? Once upon a time, in a very cold forest lived a wolf. A very greedy wolf. So greedy, in fact, that when he was offered a game against the gods, he cheated. Loki, the god of tricksters, saw this and allowed it, intrigued by learning how far he'd take it. Loki, pretending to be unaware, says to the wolf, "You have bested me. Name your prize and you shall have it." And the wolf replies back, "Well, I would take a wife." So Loki sent him a beautiful she-wolf. And what else for your victory? It doesn't seem enough. The wolf replies with gold. Now Loki thought it humorous that a wolf would ask for gold since such a creature has no use for it, but he obliged anyway. Now the she-wolf gave birth to a litter of 4 pups. Now 4 isn't a bad number, except it's dreadfully hard to hunt in the cold. Much like your village, there wasn't much to eat here. The greedy wolf had already hunted most everything left. The wolf could have, but did not, ask for a better hunting ground, but instead asked for gold, and so the first pup falls to hunger, and only 3 pups remain. Shortly after, a passing hunter sees the small family of wolves and desires a pup for himself. The wolf knew he was not the only greedy creature in the forest, but did not ask for protection. Instead, he asked for gold, and so the second pup is stolen, and 2 pups remain. The snow falls deeply that night, and the mother weeps for her lost children. The wolf knew this winter would be cold, but he did not ask the gods for warmer weather. Instead, he asked for gold, and so the cold takes the 3rd pup, and only 1 pup remains. 3 lives was the payment for his cheating and greed against the gods. Sort of a macabre story, isn't it? Most of our stories are like that. However, the last pup, free from its father's curse, ran away and lived wild and free. So it isn't all bad. As for the secret, I tell you this story because the 4th pup and I share a lot of similarities. I've made an oath to myself that I will never be hungry, or cold, or belong to someone else. I'll not be payment for anyone else's mistakes either, no matter what the cost. But also, in this story, the last pup is alone. I've discovered that I don't want that either. When I bought my land, I thought of putting a house on it, and I was proud, but also sad at how lonely it would be to live in it. When I set sail, I had the intention of taking a prisoner. We went from village to village, and nothing seemed right. They all felt like... well, I don't know a word in your language to describe it. Like mud, I guess. Shapeless. Spiritless. I had the opportunity dozens of times over, but none of them were the right fit. So honestly, I gave up and reserved myself to it just being me and Shayla. Oh, Shayla's my dog. You'll meet her when we get home. But I saw you, tied up with that little bit of defiance, and I knew you were the one that I sailed for. I could see that you had been cold and hungry, and now someone else's pet, but still, you are most quarrelsome. You're a survivor like me. You still have that spark for life, and it feels familiar. Your stubbornness, or sometimes your outright disobedience, shows me that even in your unique circumstances, you still haven't given up. Does it please you or make you fearful, knowing that I think that you are made to be my prisoner? Either way, it doesn't change the outcome, does it? And seeing as how I've not owned a slave before, it isn't like I have a good standard to hold you to. I'm as new to this as you are. Ah, look at that. How's that for timing? Ah, sweet blessed land. To you, I bet you just see rocks and sand and wild terrain, right? But I see trees I used to climb as a child, and a shoreline I've spent countless days fishing on. This is where I was born, and where I hope to die. I'm hoping you will learn to love this land as I do. Come on, creature, breathe it in. Smell the pine and the salt. You'll be smelling it for a while. Welcome home, creature. Now be a good beast of burden and help unload the greedy wolf's gold.